Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video. Since of course it's that time of the year, it is of course the Bathurst 1000. I want to give my very late preview and of course prediction. Now, at the time of recording this, it's about 10 past 10 at night on a Thursday night. I haven't seen the result. I haven't seen, the first couple of practice sessions have run. Haven't seen the results of those. And I'll try and get this out before qualifying tomorrow. But unfortunately, I don't think it's guaranteed really. To be honest, might be lucky with that, but yeah. Let's just get straight into it. So we'll go through all the teams, including the wild cards. So we'll start off with Red Bull Ampol Racing. With their drivers. So of course Brock Feeney driving car double 8. Of course, his co-driver is Jamie Whincup, and of course the championship leader Shane Van Gisbergen, who can wrap up his third Supercars title this weekend if results go his way, is again partnered up with Garth Tander. So the equation of, we'll mostly talk about Van Gisbergen here. So currently he has a 525 point lead over Cameron Waters. Then 602 points from 602 points from Will Davison, and 669 points in front of Anton De Pasquale in fourth in the championship. Chaz Mostert is also in there, but he is mathematically still in contention. If for the championship to go on, if SVG does win this weekend, Cam Waters has to finish as high as fourth. It has to finish as high as fourth. If Van Gisbergen finishes inside the top 5, he needs to finish. Cam Waters needs to finish at least inside the top 10 to get this championship to continue. Davison, he needs to win. Simple as that. He needs to win. If he wins, Gizzy, all he needs to do is finish second. But if he finishes below that, then the title is still. Will go on to the Gold Coast. And so on and so forth. So there's plenty of scenarios thrown around for Van Gisbergen to win this championship. So basically put, if Van Gisbergen wins, then that's it. And Cameron Waters finishes off the podium, then that's it. The championship's over. Van Gisbergen is the champion. But if he doesn't win, there's still if he doesn't win, there's still chances of him wrapping up the title even though he doesn't win. But we all know SVG. He'll just absolutely just curb stomp the field like he always does, and basically wins Bathurst and ultimately wins the championship. How appropriate that he would secure the championship at Bathurst, obviously. But Brock Feeney, and Whincup, I think they'll be up there as well. There's not much talk about them really. All it is, it's basically it's focused on is basically SVG and GT really, as well. To DJR, of course, Anton De Pasquale is gonna be it's the same as it was last year, with Anton De Pasquale partnered up with Tony D'Alberto, and the Davison brothers Will and Alex again partner up in the 17 car in a retro livery, which looks very good, by the way. Commemorating, of course, this weekend being the 1000th race for Dick Johnson Racing in its history, which is a phenomenal achievement from Dick and the team over there. So I think. So both of them are still mathematically in both ADP and Will are still in contention for this championship, but it's going to take an absolute miracle like SVG to crash out at every single race, or just retire in protest from every single race for one of those two to win the championship. But it doesn't stop them from basically trying to get the win at Bathurst. I mean, it's the 1000th race for DJR in a very special livery. No doubt about it. Will and both car number 11 and the 17 car will contend at Bathurst this year. This year for sure. I'm getting through. I'm trying to get through these teams quickly in this video. Next one to Tickford. Next one is Tickford. Course. James Courtney will be partnered up this year with Zane Goddard. And in car number 6, Waters, again, we're partnered up with Moffat. An underrated lineup in car 55 with Tom Randall and Zach Best. I think I think Randall has been okay this year. He's not been bad, but he hasn't produced something spectacular apart from Best when he grabbed that shocking pole at the Bend Motorsport Park. At the Bend Motorsport Park, I need to breathe there. But yeah, I think it's a driver combo to watch. In my opinion, I think that is if Tom Randall does get qualifying duties and starts up front, maybe or somewhere in the midfield, maybe they'd be a chance. But yeah. And then the Kostekis in Jake and Kurt in the 56 Tradies Undies car. So yeah. I think they're more of a chance they'll come with Waters and Moffat. They'll be contenders again. Waters is trying to avoid a bit of history of becoming the first driver to be runner-up at the Bathurst 1000 for 3 years running. He was runner-up in 2020, and then he was runner-up last year. So he's avoiding trying to avoid the three-peat of runner-up places in 2022. So yeah, I mean Courtney and Goddard, they're another ones to watch. I think if Courtney performs well and then Goddard as well does well. I mean, we all know when Goddard's at his best, he can be more than good, more than capable. So yeah, and then of course, I said a lot about the 55 car, and then the 56 of the Kostekis. I think they're just there to make up the numbers really for Tickford. So, but no, they'll probably prove us wrong, and maybe just sneak in the midfield, maybe try and get up inside the top 10. Maybe, I don't know. They might prove me wrong there. On that front. Walkinshaw and Andretti United are next. This is their last Bathurst 1000 Holdens, because next year they're going to be in the new Ford Mustang with the Gen 3 car, which was revealed today. By the way, it looks fantastic. By the way, still think the Camaro is better, to be honest. That's just my opinion. So their lineups, Nick Percat would be partnered up with Warren Luff, and the reigning Bathurst champion Chaz Mostert is going to be partnered up with Fabian Coulthard, who no doubt will contend yet again. So I think for me, the last single driver to have won consecutive Bathurst Enduros, according to my memory, well, I know there's been parents like Lance of Whincup won 3 times, 07, 06, 07, 08. Brock and Richards won consecutive Bathurst in 78, 79, 80. Even Brocky as well with Perkins in 82, 83, and 84. But I think the last single driver to have won consecutive Bathurst, I think it was Alan Moffat, I believe. Back when it was called back when it was the 500-mile race and single driver race as well. I think that was the last time that just one single driver has won back-to-back, has won consecutive Bathurst consecutively. So I think Mostert's looking to create some mystery there. Of course, Coulthard, of course, he was racing with Team Sydney, now called Premier Racing, as it's called now. Then he raced a bit of TCR. Now he's partnered up with Chaz Mostert. As I said, no doubt they're going to be contenders again. Percat, he'll be there and about with Warren Luff as well, but I think the focus is going to be on Mostert and Coulthard in the number 25 car for WAU. Next one is Erebus Motorsport. I think these guys get is the big dark horse team. I think because they've still got the same alliance as last year with Will Brown, with Jack Perkins, and Brody Kostecki and David Russell. The two co-drivers, they really did surprise me last year. I thought they were going to be the ones that would hold both the cars back, but they didn't last year, especially with David Russell and Brody Kostecki with him getting the podium. Yeah, I think there'll be a real dark horse. I think with both of them, I think they'll sneak under the radar probably by some experts, and maybe predict maybe make the top 10 in qualifying, and maybe start up front, and then it'll set up a bit from there, and who knows if they would basically who knows if they can contend again, it's even though the 2022 season as a whole hasn't been as good for Erebus as it was in 2021. I think it may be a bit of a second year blues thing for Will Brown and Brody Kostecki. I think they'll try and contend at Bathurst. I'd assume there as well. Brad Jones Racing, of course. You got car 8, of course, Andre Heimgardner and Dale Wood. In car 14, you have got Bryce Fullwood and Dan Fury. Number 4, Jack Smith and Jackson Evans, which was actually the final combination that was revealed. I think it was revealed about a week or two ago. I think, don't quote me on that. And then the number 96 of Macaulay Jones and Jordan Boys. I think the Heimgartner Wood entry, I think that is the dark horse combination. I said Erebus was the dark horse team. I think Heimgartner and Wood are the combination. I think is a real dark horse and really shock a few people. I mean, Heimgartner, he's really stepped up now as a leader in BJR after coming from the Grove Racing team. This year, he's had a couple of podiums. He had probably his career best weekend in the previous round at Pukekohe, where he had a couple of podiums there. He nearly won the Saturday race at Pukekohe. So he's entering the Bathurst 1000 in a bit of form is Andre. And I think with Dale Wood, a very experienced man there, he's had a few Bathursts, starting a few Bathursts now. I think that will be a real combination to watch. So too, Forward and Fury, if things go right for them, and I think you never know what will happen with McCoy, with Macca and of course Jordan Boys. I think Smith and Jack Smith and Evans, I believe they're just just like the Kostekis. I think they're just there to make up the numbers, really. To be honest with you, Team 18, of course. A change. There was a late change there. Originally, it had James Golding in there, but unfortunately, he went to Premier Racing after they parted ways with Gary Jacobson mid-season, and so. I think Mark Winterbottom and Michael Caruso continuing car number 18, but a different story in the second entry. Scott Pye will now be partnered up with Super 2 front runner Tyler Everingham. Who is creating his second Bathurst, obviously his first Bathurst in 2020. With the GRM team, the now defunct GRM team, in 2020. I think Winterbottom and Caruso, I think their experience would count for something. Pye, he's normally a great race driver, but in terms of qualifying, that might let him and Tyler down. In the end, but I think Winterbottom, I think no doubt he'll contend for top 10 in all sessions. From tomorrow, I should say, because ultimately today is Thursday. So I think both cars, I think they'll be right there and abouts pretty much. In terms of that. Grove Racing, so their pairings, obviously, of course, in car number 10, it is reigning Bathurst winner Lee Holdsworth. We've newly announced 2023 Grove Racing driver Matt Payne in there, so highly appropriate that the man who is going to replace Lee Holdsworth is actually going to be co-driving with him at Bathurst this year, and in the other car, in car number 26, that is the man himself, David Reynolds, partnered up with international Porsche driver Matt Campbell. Originally, I think it was supposed to be Matt Payne was supposed to be co-driving with David Reynolds, and then Matt Campbell was going to co-drive with Lee Holdsworth, but they switched it around. Then it was announced a month or two ago that they'll be switching it around. So have Matt Payne with Lee Holdsworth and Matt Campbell with David Reynolds. I think David Reynolds. I think he will. I think the focus will be on Davey and Matt Campbell. I think Lee. I think Lee. He'll be there. He'll be, I think, thereabouts. But the most the focus going to be on Matt Payne getting some supercars experience, so he can. I know, of course, next year, of course, they're going to be new cars with the Gen 3 car, but at least suits experience with racing in supercars against the best, because that's where he's going to be next year. But I think Reynolds, I think he will contend. I think he will not, most no doubtly he will contend. But I think he will. He will no doubt be. He will no doubt be Grove Racing's hope, and I think that I think he'll be, as I said, he'll be thereabouts inside the top 10 or so, in every session after today. MSR, of course, so car number 34, Jack LeBrock, we partnered up with a famous name in Bathurst history, in Aaron Seaton, the son of two-time Australian Touring Car champion Glenn Seaton, and the grandson of 1965 Bathurst winner Bo Seaton. So third-generation Seaton, and that's very exciting. I'm so happy that a third generation a generation of a family continues on with a generation of Bathurst. I mean, of course, Bo won Bathurst in '65. Glenn, he was so close so many times to win at Bathurst, but he didn't end up making it, doing it most infamously in 1995, where he was this close to winning that year at Bathurst. Unfortunately, he didn't end up winning it in the end. And now is Aaron's turn, obviously, and I think this is quite interesting, really. This could be quite interesting for Aaron, because, as we all know, as it was recently announced this week, Goodley moving on to the next car, Todd Hazelwood has announced that he'll be moving to Blanchard Racing, which I'll touch on in a bit. There is a seat available there at MSR, and this is the chance for not only for Aaron Seaton, but Todd Hazelwood's co-driver in Jaden Ojeda, to state their claim in that car. There's so many guys like Cameron Hill, which I'll talk about, which we'll touch on in a bit. Declan Fraser as well. Is another one that's been mentioned in that second Matt Stone Racing seat next year. This is basically like it's basically like an audition for these guys, for these four guys that are contending for those seats, because some of them most of them are going to be doing double duty, of course, competing in the Bathurst 1000 and then competing in Super 2. So I think there is that chance of that happening, and I think I'll be watching that one with a bit of interest to see how those drivers sort of go in that sort of audition type of thing, for when MSR do make the decision on who partners up with Jack LeBrock in 2023. Next one is Premier Air Racing. I think for me, Chris. Car number 22, Chris Piffer, it'll be partnered up with Cameron Hill, and the number 31 car, James Golding, will be partnered up with Dylan O'Keefe. I think Piffer. I think Piffer. and Cameron Hill, I think they'll be there to make up the numbers. I think Golding, I think he's really starting to really get to grips. Get to grips since moving to the team after the team's decision to move on Gary Jacobson. He's really gotten better and better. And I think I won't be surprised if he's. I'm not saying that he'll contend for the in qualifying tomorrow. He'll contend for the top 10. Trying to go for maybe the shootout positions, but maybe in amongst maybe 11, 12, maybe 11th through to 16th, he might settle into there, or he might prove me wrong. Just qualify down the back of the field. So you never know with that. And I said. Before. This is a chance, basically, back onto the other car, the Chris Piffer car, which the Coca-Cola car looks bloody brilliant. It just looks absolutely wonderful. I don't know what's with the two retro liveries, the Shell car and the Coca-Cola car. They both look, they look beautiful. I wish they used that for now. Use that as a permanent livery for the rest of the season. Unfortunately, they won't. It's because of course Hill is one, as I said, one of those four drivers that I mentioned. That is probably going to be in contention for that Matt Stone Racing seat in 2023. Or possibly if, for example, if it's true that maybe Premier Racing wants to move on Chris Piffer, maybe he can be considered as Piffer's replacement at Premier Racing in 2023. A bit interesting, really, still with the silly season stuff, to be honest. So I think Golding and O'Keefe will be a good combination. As I said, Piffer and Hill are just there to make up the numbers. Pretty much Hill is there just trying to prove to everybody he is worthy of a seat at some point in supercars. The final, let's call it full-time entries before we move on to the free wildcards. So that is Blanchard. That is the Blanchard Racing team. With Tim Slade and team owner Tim Blanchard. I think Slade. He's rather interesting. I think he is a guy who I believe at his best he can potentially make qualify for the top 10 shootout and do very well in the shootout. But then in recent form he might not. So still jury's out on that one. But I think I think at their best, I think the Slade Blanchard combination, I think will be up there fighting it out for the top 10. So I think it's watch this space moment for that to see if they make the top 10 or just qualify down the bottom. Now moving on to the wildcards. There are 3 wildcard entries this year. There was going to be a fourth entry, but that wildcard entry, but that withdrew at the last minute. So that it is the Carnival 118 entry of Matt Charter and Jalen Rotham. Robotham, I think that's how you say it. These two are Super 2 regulars. Of course, Robotham is of course part of the Image Racing team, which has a alliance with Erebus Motorsport. So a good chance for him to show Erebus that he can at some stage, be like a co-driver with either Will Brown or with Brody Kostecki. Possibly, you never know with that. As well. And I think the second one, a second co-driver, a second wildcard entry, I should say, was a wildcard entry, I think, about 2 weeks ago when Will Brown had his almighty crash at Pukekohe. There was rumors that this wildcard entry was gonna get scrapped again. It was originally going to be in 2021, but that got scrapped. But they are on track this year, and that is the famous 51 car of Richie Stanaway and Greg Murphy. Finally, it's nice to see Murph back on Australian soil. It's just fantastic to see, and I know with the recent events in the last few years, we haven't seen him here in Australia. He's bloody good as a pit reporter, and obviously he's a bloody good Super 2 commentator. So he has proved over the last few years in that case. But we haven't seen him race for, what is it, since 2014, 2015, I think. It was the last time we seen Murph race, have a competitive race. We don't know if Stanaway is gonna be the one that qualifies, or is it gonna be Murphy? It'll most likely be Stanaway that will be qualifying, but yeah. So I think, and that will be pretty interesting as well. I think if with Brown, with me thinking that Brown and Kostecki, the Brown Kostecki cars are gonna be dark horse and contenders. I think they'll be. I'm not saying that they will be top 10 contenders. I think they'll be there or thereabouts in the midfield. I believe. I don't think they'll be there to make up the numbers really. As also the final entry, and that is a part of the Triple Eight Race Engineering team. And that is the Triple Eight car of Craig Lowndes and Super 2 Series leader Declan Fraser, who is another one of those 4 drivers I mentioned who are going after that Matt Stone Racing seat. Which, if he does win the Super 2 Championship, you just have. If you're Matt Stone Racing, you have to give him that seat because he's a Super 2 champion, obviously. I think they have the potential to be the best wildcard, best wildcard entry. Like we all expected that Brock Feeney and Russell Ingall last year in that Super Cheap car were going to be the best wildcard entry, and they did. And at one stage before Brock crashed it at McPhillamy Park, they were up inside the top 10 before Brock crashed, and I think they can have the potential to do that again. I think Lowndes, even though he's probably not as fast as he was, I think he'll be there to give Declan some guidance, as a guidance and some wisdom, of course, because Lowndes, of course, he's one as well. His resume, of course, we don't have to explain it. Seven Bathurst wins, multiple podiums, multiple Bathurst starts. So and I think with his wisdom and experience, and of course Declan Fraser's pace, obviously, of course, with him being the Super 2 Series leader, I think that could go well with them in maybe perhaps contending for top 10, like what Feeney and Ingall did in the Super Cheap car last year. So yeah, which the Super Cheap car, which got the number of pictures on there with images of people on there. It looks okay. I think the original livery looked better though. I think the original livery looked better, to be honest, as well. So those are the driver combinations. Now, finally, moving on to the predictions. So firstly, I'm gonna go with who I think the 10 drivers are gonna be in the top 10 shootout on Saturday. who I think's who out of the drivers gonna have a shocking qualifying session. Who I think will get pole position, which two drivers are going to be on the front row, and who I think will be on the podium, the top wild card out of the three, and of course, most importantly, like how could I forget who I think will win the Bathurst 1000. So firstly with the top 10, shootout. So I've settled this by team order here. So in no particular order. It's not who I think will be fastest. It's settled by team order. So I think these are the following who I think will make in the top 10. I think these are the names: Brock Feeney, Shane Van Gisbergen, Anton De Pasquale, Will Davison, Chaz Mostert, Will Brown, Brody Kostecki, Andre Heimgartner, Scott Pye, and Jack LeBrock. But you might think there's one notable name in there that amongst the title race that I haven't spoken about in the top 10, and that greatly moves on to my qualifying shocker. That I think will be Cam Waters. I don't think he'll start. Sorry guys, it's almost 11 o'clock at night here, so bear with me here. Bear with me with my eyes here. I think for me, Waters, he has the ability for him to qualify, if he has a shocker, qualify maybe 11th through to 13th. I don't think he'll go qualify 15th, 16th, 17th. If he does, I'll be absolutely shocked if he does. But I think if he does have a shocker, I think it'll be around 11th through the 13th, in my opinion. Pole position, no surprises here. Shane Van Gisbergen, not surprising. And then moving on. So front row, you have front row of the grid. You have Van Gisbergen and Tander. And then alongside them, I think it'll be Andre Heimgartner and Dale Wood. I think. I think they'll surprise me, people, because the whole weekend it's at Bathurst is just going to be full of rain, and I think for me, I think these are probably the two probably if some might argue probably the two probably best Kiwi drivers when it comes to rain conditions. As we all knew that when Andre Heimgartner won his first race at the Bend last year in those mixed conditions, how good he is in the wet. How good he is in the wet. So I think I'm confident that those two cars will start on the front row. Podium, I think despite it might be predicting that Cam Waters will have a shocker, I still think he'll finish on the podium. I think Anton De Pasquale and Tony D'Alberto will also sell on the podium, and of course Shane Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander will be, of course, they'll be on the podium. And finally, who I think's gonna be actually, I'm gonna do the top wildcard first, and then do the main event, the winner. So the top wildcard, I think it'll be Craig Lowndes and Declan Fraser. I was gonna say Richie Stanaway and Greg Murphy, but I think Lowndes, due to the fact of his wisdom, of his experience with his experience and Declan Fraser, his pace and all that. I think him being young and all that, I think will no doubt will come out good in the end. Now for the big one. Who I think will win the 2022 Repco Bathurst 1000? I think it will be Shane Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander, just to put the cherry on top of what's been a fabulous year for SVG. But there's the bad news. Bad news. Since I've got Cam Waters in the podium positions, I think that the championship will continue on to the Gold Coast. I don't think, according to my predictions, I don't think he will secure his third Supercars title at Bathurst, unfortunately. Even though I would love to see that, I don't think it'll happen. So yeah, on that front. On that front, yeah. So that is just about it. That is just about it. It is nearly 11 o'clock on a Thursday night as I'm recording this. So yeah. So like this video. Shares to anybody who's a Supercars fan, or a Holden fan, or a Ford fan. Comment down below, who do you think will win the Bathurst 1000? Do you agree with me in thinking that Gizzy and GT will win it, or do you think it'll be Cam Waters and James Moffat? Do you think it'll be Mostert or Fabian Coulthard, or it could be somebody completely different? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And finally, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labelled subscribe. So until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later, and wherever you may be, may the sun or the moon shine on you, which on Sunday will be shining on the winner of the 1000.